Hey everybody, it's Jasmine. So today we are going to be starting fresh faced. I wanted to kind of do like a get ready with me type style video. So in my mind, I thought I was gonna do like a full face of dupes, but quite honestly, when I was going through my collection, I just couldn't find a full face. So we're gonna be just talking about makeup. We're gonna be talking about some dupes in this video, and we're also going to be using some new makeup releases as well. I'm going to start off with this new lip balm that I recently purchased from an indie brand. This is by Get the Butters, and it is their Complete Care lip balm, and I believe I bought the peppermint one, and I think they also have fruity scents. This is a black owned brand, and I love everything that I have tried thus far. I have tried some of their hair care. They have a hair oil that has been really helping my scalp. I haven't really been seeing much dandruff in my hair, which has been really amazing. I also bought their odor destroying mist, and I have been looking for a really nice room fragrance because quite honestly, I feel like because I have a bathroom that's connected to my room, because technically the room that I'm sleeping in is a guest room, I feel like sometimes it can get a little smelly, you know what I mean? So I have been on the hunt to find something that was kind of like Febreze, but I never am really satisfied with Febreze products, so I decided to give this a shot, and this has honestly been so amazing. It really does kill the odor and it doesn't smell like it's masking anything. Thought I'd give this a shout out because it's actually been really helping the room. I mentioned with you guys that I did have some dupes in this video that I wanted to talk about, but it's not necessarily like cheap versus expensive. It's literally just products that I felt like were on par with each other, or one was literally the same thing but better. So it's not really gonna be like one side versus the other. I'm just gonna do half and half, you know what I mean? Now, I always mention that the NYX Pore Filler Primer is a dupe to the Benefit Porefessional, but because I don't have the original Porefessional, we're gonna use the hydrating version on this side of the skin. When I use the hydrating one, it feels in texture very similar to my Touch in Sol No Pore Balm, but they're not quite on that same level. I truly feel like original Porefessional from Benefit is more of a dupe to the NYX Pore Filler Primer. But the hydrating one is still, I think, one of my favorites in the Benefit Porefessional line. If you're curious about all three primers from Benefit, I do have a video on that. So if you want to see how that looks, how it applies, the texture, everything like that, definitely check that out. Both primers definitely have their pros and cons. I feel like sometimes with a gel-based moisturizer, sometimes the NYX side can ball up on my skin, and sometimes I feel like with the Benefit Porefessional, especially the original, sometimes it does look a little drying on my skin. So then when I go in with foundation, my skin does look a little bit parched. So, you know, those two things are something to look out for, but overall, it's a great silicone-based primer that does fill in the pores and makes your makeup last on for a really long time. Let's talk about some new things here. I am so freaking excited. I was sent the Juno & Co. X SpongeBob sponge set here. I am super excited about it. I don't really want to open it just yet because I want to admire everything in the package. It all just looks super pretty. I also have a video talking about all of the Juno sponges, talking about the pros and cons, the price points of everything. So if you want to see that video, definitely check that out. But so far at first glance, it looks like there's a rose sponge, the lemon drop sponge, and then two of the mini microfiber sponges, as well as a brush soap, which is actually amazing because I really do love the Juno brush soaps. I think they're actually really amazing. So it's great that it's all in one. In this hand, I have the new SpongeBob collaboration, and in this hand, I have their original sponges. And off the first impression, I want to kind of tell you guys which one I feel like is softer or on par. So as I mentioned, we have the yellow SpongeBob one here, and then we have the original Lemon Drop. I feel like Lemon Drop is a little softer based on dry touch here, but of course if I immerse it in water, which is what I normally do, usually it does get softer. So we will definitely see with this one. Same thing with the Patrick one here. I think you could see with the color, this set is more of a pastel situation. They both feel the same as far as SpongeBob and Patrick is concerned. They both feel the same, but the major difference that I feel is Gary and the mini Juno blenders. The Juno ones are literally like little clouds. Like they are so incredibly soft, and this one just feels very, very hard. So what I'm gonna do for my little first impressions here is I'm going to wet the Gary and the SpongeBob, and then we are going to apply everything for our base. I went ahead and immersed these in water. SpongeBob did get softer. Gary is still really hard. This is the hardest like little mini blender that I have felt, so that's really interesting. Now for foundation today, I wanted to use a foundation that I only used about twice, and that is the Touch in Sol Pretty Filter foundation. I have the shade medium. But in order to make the foundation look a little bit more dewy, I wanted to go in with this new product from Becca. This is called their Ignite Liquified Light Highlighter, and it kind of looks like this, almost like the Shimmering Skin Perfector, but a little bit more luxe. Typically with the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfectors, I usually take it under the eyes because when you apply concealer, I kid you not, it makes your concealer look so good and delicious. So I'm going to do this first, and right off the bat, this smells so strong of fragrance. I'm not really used to Becca having a strong fragrance to their makeup. Normally it doesn't really smell like anything, but this just smells like crazy. I should have taken one pump, but I squeezed out 2 of my Touch in Sol foundation, and that is completely fine. That's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and dot this all over my skin, and we're gonna take that SpongeBob sponge and just blend that in. I think this one definitely feels a little bit like the Lemon Drop. The texture of it is very similar. I think the difference is only the cut, because this one has like that little slant edge, while the original Lemon Drop does not. And if you are eyeing this sponge set or anything else from Juno, don't forget to use my code ThatsSoYin at checkout. It'll save you a little extra cash. Now, one thing to note about these Juno sponges, you really do have to use less, because if you use your normal amount, which is why I kind of regretted 2 pumps of foundation, is because it'll definitely make your makeup look cakey, because it does save your product. It does not really soak it up. As you see, it's not really sitting on the slant edge. It's all on my face. So work little at a time and just keep blending. Do you see that beautiful luminosity? I think that's the reason why I love the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector. I do think that this one is a little bit more intense than Shimmering Skin. Let's actually put them side by side so that you guys could see what I'm talking about. I have a little sample of Moonstone. So I'm gonna put that here. Really nice. The colors are completely different. I didn't realize Ignite was going to be so golden and bronze. But here is Ignite right next to it. Right there, that's Ignite. It reflects a lot more, and I think that that's the reason why I almost see a little bit of extra texture on my skin, but I mean, that's kind of to be expected. I did that to myself. It's actually sunset right now, so I'm having a little golden hour action here. I do want to move on into some concealers. Now, I know we have literally heard everyone compare some type of drugstore concealer to Shape Tape. I think that's like the most iconic concealer reference, right? But I truly feel like, and this is literally me working on my clients, I genuinely feel like this has come the closest out of any other concealer that I have tried. And trust me, I've tried the regular Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define. I have tried the e.l.f. Camo. I have tried literally everything under the sun as far as cruelty-free drugstore is concerned, but I definitely think that this one, as far as the formula and wear time, is the most comparable. So I'm talking about here the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Infinite. It has to be the Infinite one. The original Conceal and Define doesn't do it for me, don't get her. But this one does claim to be a 16-hour wear and it has 20% more coverage than the original Conceal and Define. This one I have the shade C7, and in the Tarte Shape Tape I have the shade Light Medium. And because we are working with the Juno sponges, I'm not going to add too much concealer under the eyes. I don't really need much coverage anywhere else on my skin, so we're not going to do a whole bunch. But let me tell you about the reason why I feel like this is the Tarte Shape Tape dupe. It self-sets. And I think a lot of other concealers don't do that. And that's the whole reason why I prefer Shape Tape, is because of that feature. It literally just does the work for you. And I feel like for a lot of companies, it's really hard to find a concealer that offers that coverage while staying relatively matte and does not crease even if you don't set it. Now, I do realize that the Makeup Revolution shade that I have is not a dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape Light Medium, but it does its job, you know. This is what it looks like. Really good, you know, I can't really complain here. It's something that I have been testing out, and I don't really talk a lot about dupes on my channel, a whole bunch, but when I find something that I feel like works just as well, I do want to highlight it. And I also feel like too many people talk about the original Conceal and Define and they don't talk about the newer formula one, and I have been using it quite frequently, both on myself and on clients, just to really get an idea of how it works on the skin. I have worked with clients with super dry skin, and this has made their under eyes look hydrated yet full coverage. It doesn't have a whole bunch of drying aspects, even though it will dry down matte. It still looks really healthy, and that's the reason why I really do like it, and that's the reason why I also like Shape Tape. I don't feel like it dries out my skin a whole bunch. I'm just going to take a light layer of translucent powder under the eyes and on the nose and on the chin, because it is still really hot in my room, so want to keep that just a little set. That was just the Colourpop translucent powder, nothing special. I don't really care for a lot of powder, to be honest. I do have quite a handful in my collection, but I feel like I just need such the bare minimum that one powder will literally last me so freaking long. It'll literally last me years. So I'm not quite picky with powders. And I don't really have a dupe to share with you guys. Like, I think they all work in its own realm. So we're gonna move on into some brows, which I do have a dupe, and I already have a whole video dedicated to these two products duping each other. And that's going to be the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade versus the ShopMissA Wonder Brow Pomade, both in the shade dark brown. If you are wondering what I use for my hair and my brows, it's always going to be a dark brown. I never really change it. Ebony is just a little too dark for my liking, and medium brown is usually just too warm, so I always stick to this shade. On the brows, both pomades actually work fairly similar. I think that they both stay on the brows. They both claim to be smudge proof, I believe, or if the ShopMissA does and the Anastasia doesn't. Either way, they both don't have a lot of transfer. And I find that with these two products, it's always a foolproof brow, and I can always draw in my brows within a couple of seconds. I think the video that I filmed comparing these two products was like 2 years ago. Yikes. If I were to change anything or give you guys additional information from, you know, 2 years, I think that the ShopMissA Brow Pomade definitely dries out to this dry clay texture, while the Anastasia one dries in almost like this dry putty texture. So they dry out differently, but if you use Inglot Duraline, if you put in some facial oil overnight, like a drop or two, or if you douse it in setting spray overnight and let it marinate, they revive the same. So you're working with the same formula once it's revived and once it's juicy. I just got an order on Etsy. Oh, I am so excited. I will pack that up after this video. Oh, my heart gets like, Love to see it. Where was I going with this? On this eyebrow, I'm using the Anastasia one. I truly feel like this is my good eyebrow. I think I just have a bias towards the right side of my face. Jasmine, are you insecure about your left side? Yeah, someone pointed out that my left side of my face is not symmetrical to this side. So that wasn't very nice. That hurt me a lot. Oh, another thing that I wanted to mention that I don't think I mentioned in the video comparing these two pomades. These build up easily into the brow, so they are not too waxy, which is really amazing because you're, again, working with kind of the same formula. So essentially you're comparing $1 to $18, and there have been so many brow pomades that I have used in my brows that I feel like were too waxy or too dry, to the point where if I tried to build up the color, it would patch off or it just would not stick to the skin. We're gonna move on into eyeshadow, and I feel like I have so many eyeshadow palettes, and you guys know this. I think we've all seen what was in my collection. And you know, I was trying to find palettes that were almost the exact same, which, to be quite honest, I feel like I only keep the eyeshadow palettes that I feel like are different from each other. So this was a little difficult for me, but I think this is a winner. I really do. So here I have the Jeffree Star Androgyny, and we will be duping this palette. But if you guys are unfamiliar what this looks like, it looks like this. It's a beautiful type of grungy toned palette, but I never use this because I feel like with me and palettes, I only like working with one palette. I don't like working with two palettes at once unless I absolutely have to. But I just don't feel like I'm as inspired to use this as a whole. Plus, you know, I don't want to get into drama or anything, but that too. And before anyone asks me, why don't you depot it? I got that as a birthday present and I don't want to ruin it. So I don't know, I'm kind of like in a weird position. I know I talk about this palette a lot, and I know some of you guys might be really tired of me talking about it, but it's the only palette that I feel like duped the Jeffree Star one, and that's the KathleenLights So Jaded. Look at, hold on. There. Boom. I know you see it. I know you really do, because it's there. Kathleen just has more color variety. She does. What I'm thinking of doing, I kind of want to go into the blues because, quite honestly, I haven't really dug into any of the blues in the Jeffree Star palette. So this is going to be kind of like a first look into this palette. But because I don't want to wash my brushes right after this video, I'm just going to be using one brush per palette, just so you know, we're just going with the flow here. For my eyes, I'm using all of my Kaleidos Futurism brushes. So these ones are just going to be the teal blending brushes. We're going to take rose quartz up here, and we're going to do Kathleen's side on this eye and then the Jeffree side on this eye. We're going to pop this into our crease and blend it up near our brow bone just to make this a transition shade. Then we are going to take Safe Word, and we are going to apply this right onto the other eye. Jeffree's side has a little bit more like contour to it. I definitely feel like there's just a little bit extra pigment, while the rose quartz in the Kathleen is definitely more of a transition type of shade. We're going to take a little bit of sapphire, and we are going to pop this into the crease. It's going to be a little bit messy, but I'm going to blend it out a little later. Just really get into that little socket area. I'm not going to take it super far in because on my eye shape, if I bring it in, it really closes off my eyes. So I want to make sure that everything is either in the middle or in the outer third. And then I'm going to take that dark blue in the Jeffree palette called Swallow, and I'm going to apply this one into my crease as well. This one is definitely not as cobalty. It definitely has a little green in here, but I think once it's like all blended out, I think it'll look the exact same. I'm still gonna work with one brush because I'm lazy. So I'm gonna take the shade here called Jade, and I'm gonna coat this all over my brush and then really tap off that excess because I want the most minimal amount of jade on my brush, but I still want it to be a little present. So I'm gonna hold my brush at the very end here, and I'm going to take that right where we applied our transition shade, and this is going to blend out that blue. Yes, it's a little messy, but we are working with some really grungy tones. And then we're gonna take Military on the Jeffree side, and we are going to follow that onto the crease as well. This one's more of like a dirtier green as opposed to like a jade green. They're still roughly in the same category. It's still really grungy. You guys can't even really 100% tell because it's in such a small area on my eyes. Because I don't want to take any additional eyeshadow, I'm going to go ahead and take some of my translucent powder on another Kaleidos brush. And I've already kind of started on this eye, but I'm just going to blend on my brow bone and blend out that green just so it looks a little bit more dispersed and it looks a little bit more blended. Because I do have a yellow undertone, the green will blend in on its own, which is really nice. Green does blend into yellow, so don't worry if you are somebody like me but are scared of using greens. On this eye, we're going to take a little bit of extra sapphire, and we're actually going to pat this onto the outer corner here, wing it out just a very little bit, and take that into the crease because we've been doing so much blending that we want to bring back some of the blue. Because I don't want to waste it, I have extra foundation on the back of my hand, and we're actually going to use this to cut our crease. I always like starting in the inner corner, and I kind of just go with it. I don't really have a method to my cut creases. I just go. For my eyelid, I actually wanted to take some shimmers that were not from these palettes, and I actually wanted to do this for my eyes because I was going to use it on my face, so I wanted it to be a little bit more cohesive and a little bit more flowy. So we are going to be talking about two different highlighters. They're both around the same price point, but they both look the same, and I was wondering why I wasn't wowed by this new one that I got. So the newest highlighter that entered my collection was by Laura Mercier, and I have been eyeing this one for quite some time now, and that's because of the way it looks. It just looks so beautiful and just pressed in like a wave, like it's like a little beachy moment. This one is in the shade Addiction, and I was thinking to myself, why am I not so impressed by this? And I quickly realized that it looked damn near the same to my Laura Geller Gilded Honey highlighter. So that's what I'm going to use for my eyelids. I'm going to use Laura Geller on this side, and I'm going to use Miss Laura Mercier on this side. The Battle of the Lauras. There is just something about blue and gold that just looks so expensive to me, which is why I decided to go in with the highlighters on my eyes, because it's just so blinding and so buttery. These two formulas just glide on the skin like a dream. I'm also going to take that into the inner corner. Why not? Make it more cohesive. Definitely the Laura Geller side has a little less fallout than Laura Mercier, and I think that's because the ridges in the highlighter for Laura Mercier cause a little bit more kick up, especially with a smaller brush like this. When I'm working with it on larger brushes, I don't really get fallout, but I just thought I'd point that out here just in case you really wanted some differences and similarities. We are going to be doing a blue winged liner today. So the Colourpop one is going to be in the shade CRZY, and then the ShopMissA one is called Blue. So I'm going to go ahead and use Colourpop on this eye, and I feel like with the use, I think you guys will see why I don't like this eyeliner as much. And I mentioned because it's mostly due to the felt tip. The color is beautiful, the point is really sharp, but every time I get to this wing, I feel like it dries out a little too quick. Of course, the time where I'm actually demonstrating, it doesn't dry and skip, of course. Of course, that happens. But I'm gonna go ahead and take some of that foundation right underneath the liner just to sharpen up my eyeshadow look. This is a hack that I really love doing because it makes the look seem as if you really had spent a whole bunch of time on it, when in reality you didn't. You've only been sitting here for like 30 minutes. I don't know, I'm not really loving this Gary sponge. It's so hard. I don't really like that, but there we go. That's the eyeliner look. Now on the other eye, we're gonna do ShopMissA. I feel like in general, brush tips are just so much faster to use because the texture is so smooth as opposed to a rough felt. So this is what both liners look like. I think on it's pretty, it's nice. I do think that the ShopMissA side now with it on top of the eyeshadow looks a little brighter than the Colourpop side, but honestly I think with lashes and everything you can't really tell, and that's totally fine. There have been days where I have worn 2 different colored liners on my eyes and no one has pointed it out. So we're gonna go ahead and do some mascara, finish up a little bit of the lower lash line. It's pretty simple. I'm just gonna do that one shade of blue down there, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna finish off the rest of the face. The sun has officially set. I feel like I look more normal, a little bit more like myself. I think I look quite flawless actually in this lighting. But this is the finished eye look as promised. I didn't promise you guys anything, but like I said, I was gonna do a little bit of blue, so that's what I did there. I did some Fenty mascara, and the lashes that I am wearing is from a brand called Lash and Love. They're on Instagram, and I will have them linked down below because I think right now their lashes are on sale for $7, which is really amazing. The style that I'm wearing right now is Capricorn, and I feel like every single time I am wearing lashes, it's these ones. They're so comfortable, so lightweight, but so natural and long. So it marks off a lot of marks. It marks off a lot of marks. Why can't I speak? Anyway, let's move on into bronzer. I'm tired of myself. So I'm just gonna use my Too Faced Milk Chocolate. I looked through all of my bronzers and I felt like a lot of my bronzers had different finishes and different shades, so we're skipping it. We're just gonna do one bronzer here. Oh, and you guys know what is so exciting? You guys know how much I love my Catrice Sun Lover bronzer, and you guys know how I finished it? I bought a backup. It's here. I am so freaking excited. I literally just waited until I had $25 to spend on makeup because I haven't been on a makeup shopping spree. I've been on a no-buy, quite honestly, because I have one too many things. I don't have enough room in my collection, so I waited until I spared $25 just to buy the bronzer and to score some free shipping, because Catrice does free shipping over $25, which is not a lot of money, to be honest. As with my bronzers, I felt like I didn't have 2 blushes that completely matched each other. So I'm just gonna go in with my MAC Trace Gold. This one is discontinued. And I hit pan on it. No! 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 Are you serious? Oh. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't like the sight of it. I don't love to see it. That's sad, man. Come on. Ugh, whatever. It's fine. I'm fine. Also, a couple days ago, I uploaded a video talking about my favorite blushes. So if you want to see that video, then definitely check it out. I will have it somewhere up in the iCards above. I think blush right now is a huge hit. This blush in particular is just very natural because I really want the highlighter to shine through, no pun intended. So we're gonna do again the Laura Geller and Laura Mercier. And the reason why I chose MAC Trace Gold is because, as you see, I do have that highlighter effect, and these golden highlighters are a little darker on my skin, so if I just apply it on my cheekbones, it's not really going to do me justice because it's not really going to highlight me. So I actually use this as like a blush topper. So I will take it on my brush here and I will focus it on the apple of the cheek and then bring it back. And as you see, it adds like more shine and dimension, but it's not too dark on the highlighted area. Sometimes I can't help it. You know, in the first half of the video, I'm good, I'm talkative, I have things to say. And then the second half of the video, I literally forget what I'm gonna talk about. Here is that highlighted cheek look. Really pretty, and I think because the eyes are so dramatic and so standout-ish, it's really nice to just have a nice, flawless, silky base underneath. So now we are going to actually move on into lips. Now, I do have a dupe for a red lip, which I am not gonna do. Who do you think I am pairing a blue eye with a red lip? Not me, but I do want to show you guys just to include it in the video. And then I also have a nude lip, which took a lot longer to find, and you know, I love nudes. You guys know this. I think my nude lip collection is something to be admired because I feel like I have things from so many different price points, so many different formulas, and I feel like with every single one I could literally tell you so much about it, but for some odd reason I did not have a dupe, and I found one that was really close for a discontinued item. So first I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the reds, as I'm not gonna use them, and then we're gonna transition into the nude. These two reds are more of your berry red. So here we have ShopMissA Palm. This is part of their So Smooth line. With this formula in particular, it's a lot more moisturizing and it is so smooth as well. It's not sticky like their liquid lipsticks, and it's not as drying and cakey like their old Wonderlock lipsticks. So this one's amazing, and this color matches perfectly with the shade Exotic Red from Shiseido. So this one is just a little sample one that I got. But I wanted to compare the two. I want to get a really good swatch for you as well. And I know you guys can see it because reds are usually just really vibrant. The formula though is very comparable to each other. However, I do think that the Shiseido one on the lips feels a little bit more hydrating. I think that when you are comparing the two on the lips side by side throughout the day, the ShopMissA one feels almost like it's dried down. You don't feel it on the lips, but it's definitely dried down and it's not as plumping. Is that the right word that I want to use? Because I think we associate plumping with like Too Faced lip injections when that's not really the case. That's not really what I'm going for. At the end of the day, the Shiseido one just looks more healthy because your lips have that little extra added moisture. But I mean, hey, you're saving quite a bit of money between these two products, so you know, it's okay. If you want to go ahead and apply extra lip balm under the ShopMissA one, you're gonna get the same effect as the Shiseido. Simple as that. Now with the nude lipsticks, these ones are more of a color dupe as opposed to a formula dupe. They are both bullet lipsticks, but I feel like they're just a little off. So the lipstick that I was trying to dupe out was the Dose of Colors Desi and Katie lipstick. This one is in the shade More Creamer Please. This one is a beautiful warm nude. This is so beautiful, but unfortunately they don't sell this anymore, so I'm trying to savor it. I ended up stumbling upon a lipstick that I haven't used in a while from MAC, and this one is actually in the shade Impulsive. This is from their Powder Kiss line, and the Powder Kiss I think is one of my favorite formulas from MAC because it feels like your lips are this pillowy, soft velvet texture, and it feels like that all day long. It's quite crazy how it just locks everything in. So we're gonna do a little bit of a hand swatch before I put it on my lips. So this one is MAC. Here we go. And then this one is Dose. There we go. So as you see, they're both like this orangey, warm nude, really pretty on the lips. And I feel like the only difference is that the Dose of Colors formula isn't as velvety as the MAC one. It's still very comfortable, very hydrating, but it's definitely a cream formula as opposed to velvet. I'm gonna go ahead and line my lips with the Curvy Lip Liner from Colourpop. And then here we go with MAC. Really pretty nude, love it. And then here is Dose. I think from far away, Dose looks like a tad bit lighter, but on the hand, they swatch the exact same. So that's what that looks like. I think you're still getting quite a close color anyway. They're both still in the really warm category. They're both in the bullet lipstick category as well. And they both smell really good. And just like that, everyone, we are completed with today's video. I hope you all really enjoyed seeing me just chill out, playing with some new makeup releases, as well as some makeup dupes. I hope that with some of the dupes that I showed with you guys can save just a little bit of extra cash. I did try at least to, you know, make it one expensive and one affordable, but obviously kind of like MAC and Dose, it's like the same price point. But you guys get the point of this entire video. I just wanted to kind of just give you guys a little bit more options as far as what you should invest in, or maybe the pros and cons of certain items. So I hope you all really enjoy that. And as far as this look is concerned, I really love it. I have been really loving greens and blue eyeshadow lately. I think that they're just so fun, they're so vibrant, and it really just adds that pop of color to the life, because, or at least to my life, because I feel like my life right now is just so boring, and I've been saying that a lot, and I just think that with the pop of color, it just makes me feel more energized, as weird as that sounds, but also makes me feel a little bit more confident and ready for my day, even though it's what time is it? Even though it's 8:30, I'm ready for my day. And if you're wondering about a tutorial on this hair, I'm sorry, I can't give it to you guys. This hair took me like 20 minutes to do, and it's falling out as I speak. So, I'm sorry. I might have to take you over to the hair channels. Yeah. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye. Peace out, Girl Scouts.